Oops, sorry about that. Oh yeah. By the way, I did make the game a little bit louder, but let me just think. I could put it a few notches too far. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, here we go. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms are so luxurious. I felt like we were staying in a palace. So wait, I forget the timeline. How long has it been since case 3? I forgot which day what day of, I forgot what day it was at the end of case 3. And with all the gaslights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time in the Estes Buria, I was gonna waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops! Sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance, so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. Did you seriously just go into the hotel thinking, oh, this looks cool, I will stay here? How much money do they even have to their names? In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a year. Ooh. Oh, dear God. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Good morning to you, at this early hour. Is that... yeah. Oh, yes, well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We've come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Oh, okay, just yesterday. Susanoo-san is amazing. She didn't bat an eyelid even in the presence of, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And so, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of the events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern island. Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? The truth! The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to prefer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. As for you, my dear fella, I couldn't ask for a better defense. Oh no, that laugh is pretty weak. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilded passed away, immediately following the trial. Oh! Wait, bullshit! Wait, he was in the carriage? Wait, who stuffed him? What? No way! No. There's no. I refuse to believe that someone like him would just set up to die like without that much buildup. No. What? But Mr. McGilded is dead? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Bruh. What the fuck? No way. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial completed yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Oh yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak. But already. So, okay, so that throws out the theory of, well, not theory, but the whole aspect of Mr. McGilded having the Scotland Yard in his back pocket. He's fucking dead. Or, as far as we know. The police have identified a corpse found inside of the charged shell of the carriage as that of McGilded. That's awful! The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. The bailiff really needs to pay more attention. How could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back to the courtroom to look at the omnibus. I must be making tracks now. It is time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus. Not to my knowledge, I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then, who is Mr. McGilda talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer of any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Or Mr. McGilda. Okay, you know, I think I did make the game too loud. Too quiet. Okay, I think that's good. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow! Mr. Naruhodo means the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It really is a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words. Ryosuke! And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple. As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did you just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died. As yet. And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. So the trial's tomorrow then. Is everything alright? Oh, yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilda's trial. Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh! If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that is right. Here we go again. Oh yeah, oh, what the fuck? What? Huh. Okay. I just saw something weird in Discord. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time I mentioned 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asagi. I would be interested to hear exactly what you mean by that. Inside, 34 seconds. Oh, well, Cosmo always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he can manage to change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself, and there's another thing. Oh. Another thing. Continue. On the way here on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Mr. Naruhodo, what's this all about? Mr. Asagi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. Taking the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? Wait, is he holding... Wait, are those like potato wedges or something? So, I wish you the best of luck, and I bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do. Asuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Those damn Easterners! Yo, I gotta say, looking at that, if that's what I'm assuming, man, they really got me craving for. Oh dear God, you know, hold on. Moving the crosshair is not as smooth as I thought it'd be. Like, it doesn't take in the full direction, or what was it? The what's that word I'm looking for? You can't gently nudge the crosshair around with the analog stick. It either stops or goes. But yeah, looking at this, man, I really want some potato wedges from KFC. How does he get more? Can we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some flippery about the weather doesn't get every English jet eaten out of your hand, you know. But Susaru-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man. A very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to get the likes of you are talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying, Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. All because some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country he's never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. But doesn't it really rip us apart as well? I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Eh? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. Eh? Huh? Is he really in such shock and disbelief? It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It's unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. He changes tune so quickly as soon as, like, he's oh shit, they're actually lawyers. Unbelievable, how did she pull that off? So, Lord Stronghead has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson. What's the matter with Susato-san? Does the detective's name mean anything to her? Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Mr. Sato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Rance Magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful, friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Gregson is an actual character from the Holmes novels, by the way. Ah! Huh. I never read any of the Sherlock Holmes novels or anything like that, so I know nothing about any references they toss in here. I'm sure I'd appreciate it more if I actually did read at least some of it, but nah. Hey, how you doing, Bretsu? Oh. Hey, Sarah. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those are his own words. Pick of a bad lot? That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's, known all over London, known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that, to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, it's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than a man on the street. People are always looking at me now, whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories, the fame's gone to his head and stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying. But I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Oh, nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the Yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital, unconscious. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished off whoever it was with a suicidal takedown, would you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Gracious of Ryunosuke, you've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had a time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit. Perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question. Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Well, why ever not? Simple. Oh. Hold on. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barrack Van Zeeks. How many times we need to teach you this lesson, old man? No. Sounds like you've heard of him then. Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself, the Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Baron Van Zeeks, we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Lord Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused as sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname. Okay, hold on real quick. Wait one second, this thing bothering me on my monitor. Here we go. I suppose these aren't that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty. Ah, and what of it? Oh, well, I think... that means even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGillig, came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? What are you saying? Look, if Van Zeeks could get the dirt to stick on anyone, he'd be a miracle worker. That's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think of that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? Right, well, I've filled you in as requested and I'm very nearly out of chips. I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place. That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already? He's as good as, shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. It'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. Inmate 53, thank you. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage too. But if the man they arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking it like a leaf in his cell. And I for one wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm gonna make some enquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes, let's go! Oh dear God. Prison cell or a dungeon? Dungeon cell. One and the same. So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Okay, hold on. I'm in a constant state of adjusting my freaking glasses, dude. Oh, don't miss the Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse. Apparently our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark in the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop by in the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat? As yet with no name. Calling me by a number, it's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. What? Wait. No way. Wait. Who? Excuse me, but who? Shush! Quiet! They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening, even now. I can sense it. Right, so, can I ask you who exactly— There you are! You've come to curse me, have you? Don't try to hide it, you're a ghost! A ghost? We mean you no harm, prisoners. Prisoner-san! Are you Japanese by any chance? This is me on my wildest dreams! Oh my God. Oh, forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown. Here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment. Oh boy, this guy's quite animated. Who could have guessed this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? Ah, what compassion my fellow countrymen show. To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to interfere a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nippon. Oh my god. First-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example? Oh yes, I can, I will. Shan't stay sullen and silent. Bruh. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. He's confused, but he's got the spirit. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susanoo Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notably notoriously named Natsume. Soseki Natsume. Yes, the symbol of one of our great empire's first-rate lawyers. Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side, you'll defend me. Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you. Then why else would you show me that? Oops, in hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. Fun fact, Soseki Natsume here is an actual person. Oh, huh. Soseki Natsume-san, what an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume. Nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No, don't be prosaic. It's much more refined than that. Haiku, that really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent here by the government? Oh yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this! It's beyond the pale! Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean that you can do it, no! So, hold on. What do you mean? If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understand, that's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Oh. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I see. Only the other day, I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on whitewash. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems. Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it! I didn't commit that atrocious murder! Murder? Oh no, it's alright. That woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes! Before your eyes? You mean, you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books and I was on my way back to my cursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? And I was walking along that accursed pavement. I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was. Just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the whole cart slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible. I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my cursed lodgings. That's not good. And they'll say it was shameful, I know, but to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm, diffident, shy, timid, unsure, I can't talk to people. Damn. You and me both. I see, a young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anyone pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one. Ah, great. So the victim was unknown to you and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? What conundrum? What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Soseki-san has just said is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim and there's no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did. But if that's the case, sure this man has to be the culprit. Ah, you! What did you just say? Does he read minds? Nothing! I didn't say anything! Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry? He didn't touch the victim and there's nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh yeah, she's right. Footprints. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Sholmes! Oh no, this is probably Gregson. Of all the bad luck! A cursed great detective? Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live! With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed great— Oh. Sholmes, you son of a bitch! Oh my, not again! First Ryunosuke. And now, Soseki. So that just brings into question, how many other people did he falsely accuse of committing crimes in this case? Unless these were just two coincidences. Brash, big-headed busybody, be gone! May you be cursed, unto the end of your days, Herlock Sholmes! I knew it! Mr. Sholmes? Oh, Sholmes, why do you have to make life harder for us? Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. was the morning after that nightmare unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police, put the weapon down." Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination, devils. You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a cherry cat. Or a Cheshire cat. Cherry. Don't mind me. That's Herlock Sholmes. It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. I guess they want to emphasize like hairlock. He's English. Since I found out he's a famous name in detection here in London. Or I've since found out. Yes, the great detective really is really very well known. It is overly sharp my man should deduce my whereabouts apparently. He thinks that the knife-wielding madman me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man. I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were, that's only natural. I was terrified internally, they kept throwing question after question at me. In impossible English. Fiendish foreign film flammery. Well, we are in England, you can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, but my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes I do, and I'm fine. Pain. Oh my god. They just love to bully any non-natives here in Britain. Oh my god. Next thing I knew, I was in manacles. And before I knew, I was throwing it here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's highly surprising. I'm fine. He's not fine now. When you say you're fine, but you're not really fine. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Esquire? Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh yes, alright, they really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court somehow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why? Why is it hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself on the study tour. Student? I've defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. A sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But the armband, that's the mark of defense lawyer for a great empire! It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. Keepsake! I know exactly what they're saying about me. What do you mean? Or who do you mean? The lawyers. All the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness, why? Well, why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before, when it happened. There was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool, I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before in my earshot without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they say. And of course the foreigner did it. I even had the call to say, a man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong! I've studied more English than half the policemen out there on the streets! I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. Okay, well, I need a drink here. Just try to read his voice like this is hurting my throat. Yeah, it's a good thing I got a huge cup of water, but oh dear god, I'm gonna run out already. You can do it, couldn't you? When I looked into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Sosuke-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can, for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Excuse me. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. Oh, excuse me. Oh my god, what happened to that bike? Oh, on just my seat. So this is where it happened. Briar Road. Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of the Scotland Yard are here. They're sorry. I thought of Yunosuke talking. The men of the Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. That is their job, you know. But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close. To a real Bobby's helmet. What? The helmet? Of course. I have to try one on one day. Well, I hope your heady dream comes true. Foreigners. What's the Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Gregson. This isn't on the tourist trail, and I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So you've been to the holding cells then. What do you make of the criminal? He's not a criminal as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. Well, see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Wow. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Stone cold air of rejection. Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air. That makes it worse somehow. Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in the adventure of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place. The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am. Oh, and you know, I've always dreamed of wearing a real Bobby's helmet. It does make him look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. Certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful? Being in London, Bobby is hard going, I can tell you. Oh, really? First thing in the morning, you know what he does. Goes round and rouses all the laborers on his beat so they can get off to work. What? He wakes people up? Yep, raps on their windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit. I had no idea. The Bobby works for the people of the town. Just another one of his duties. And after that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance. I can't really imagine how far that is, but sounds like a long way. Freedom units. What is this? Oh, technically not freedom units here. Let's see. 20 miles, that's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot, that's definitely taking things a step too far. And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps. So they're more like city workers than anything, goddamn. Just trying to like maintain all this shit. Wait, hold on. Dude, I swear. It's my fucking glasses, dude. Oh fuck, I'm taking my glasses off. I can't stand having to adjust it every 2 minutes. I'm trying to look at the screen. Because every time like I blink and like shift my nose ever so slightly, my glasses keep shifting down with my headphones on. It's so bothersome. Ugh. Oh my. And I suppose in between all the duties, Bombies are expected to investigate cases as well. And chase after criminals trying to evade the law. I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly, more like alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I'll admit. I always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. No, it happened around 5 in the evening 2 days ago, just there on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind. Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in the hospital. I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't find out much about her at all. I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course. Here's the map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want. Really? Are you sure? It's your policy to give lawyers, defendant, suspects the odd bit of information to go on. I haven't actually accepted a job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept. The local map. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else at the scene, on the scene, other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So, who did it, do you think? Not much of a head scratcher, is it? Well, I know Mr. Natsume is claiming not to have seen anyone around, but just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that no one else was present. Oh, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure. How? Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed. What? We have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less. It was a typical foggy London day, and our client obviously didn't see them. There were witnesses now. Oh boy, also let me take a look at the map. Meerschaum, Briar Road, Calabash. Huh. So there is an alleyway over here. So I mean, if anything, the obvious escape route was through the back alley under the cover of the fog. And around here, you have plenty of escape routes. So, we'll have to see if anyone was there to cut him off to say, oh no, I didn't see anyone pass through this back alley, I was there. Who are these witnesses, Inspector? A fellow and his wife. And the man's one of the most reliable, respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard. Ah, so they wouldn't doubt one of their own. A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked. Oh, nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a bobby. So wait, why do they call them bobbies exactly? Or like, how did the term come up? No. Catching them banging the act and all that. Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions? Be my guest. You can ask him whatever you like. In court tomorrow. Oh. I have no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to. That's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make your job very difficult indeed. No. Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector. What? The person related to the suspect. I heard it was Mr. Herlock Sholmes. What are you bringing him up for? Was it something I said? The color drained from his cheeks. So wait, Bobby is derived from Robert Peel, who established the fourth. Oh. Ah, okay, I see now. Oh. Who did you hear that name from? Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was a result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions. Fiddle faddle! That man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere. Oh. I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spawning incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claimed to have solved the case! Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to the Scotland Yard, though, isn't he? Gibble gabble! Never seen this before. Oh yes, that's Rats Magazine. The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Herlock Sholmes appears. Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Herlock Sholmes tale at all. Well, I suppose there's an element of that. We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. This man's as dangerous dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all of our criminals. That can't really be true, can it, Inspector? Clearly the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. Okay, before I read this last thing, I need to use the restroom. I really need to use the restroom for all the water I've been drinking. Trying to read, what's his name again? Oh wait, hold on, I deselected the thing. Yeah, trying to read Gregson's lines has been wearing on my throat a little bit. Yeah, give me 1 second to use the restroom. Alright, I'm back. Let me take this off. Dear God's annoying trying to see with all my glasses on. Again, I'm not blind, but very nearsighted. Like, even within, like... Even as I sit within, like... What was it? In, like... Slightly less than arm's length, although I know that most people's arms are different lengths, but go work with me here. Like, slightly less than arm's length from my eyes to the monitor. The letters here are a tiny bit blurry. not unreadable, but there's a slight blur to them. That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not? Well, it makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer with a salt would touch that case with a barge pole. Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper the Bailey, you mean? There's no way to save the man now. He's a waste of time trying. It's all a bit strange, though. Sorry? The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court for over a good few years now. Yes, we did hear something to that effect. And the only people he usually bothers with are real scum. The master criminals, the violent ones. But master criminals? The violent ones? That's right. He handpicks the victims, only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins. But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely. Ah, that's just my point, Sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say what the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into. For want of a better phrase. Oh, well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it? No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest. Really? What sort of reason, Inspector? You think I can tell what's going on inside that head of, that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial. Are we really going to have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it. Well, I don't think we're gonna get any more useful information out of the detective. Mr. Narahara, can I make a suggestion? Oh, yes, what is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. By him, do you mean... Oh no. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, exactly. Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame, Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again. The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address. It's Baker Street. How did you know that? It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world. Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. Better hurry to find our way there before Susato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage! So we're to have a reunion already. With the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wanted to close, we'd be clapped in irons. I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what was going on. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all. Ah. What a delightful snowman. I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy though. Oh, it has a scarf, look! You need one if you're out here in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment too. We certainly can't afford a scarf. Sure, the snowman here wouldn't miss his, but the person who made the snowman certainly would. Yes, I know, you're right. Anyway, if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. Oh, that's the Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? It's been a long dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London. Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then. But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it, wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone. No, I wasn't serious! Oh, a British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore. Someone must be doing some breakneck cycling. It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress, to allow them to ride as well. The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that. Read Oscar. Goodness, do you dislike bicycles? No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. If you ever consider walking on stilts and fall into a river, I know you'd agree with me. What? We'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? Yeah, I'm sure it has a rather long and interesting history. Well, time certainly has taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. We must find some cheap lodging ourselves as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. Oh yeah, wait, the windows are... Oh, look at the windows of that building there. Are you sure they're windows? Yes, but they're all filled in with bricks. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment. The smoke coming from the chimneys, though. Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's still so much we have to learn about this place. There's piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks. It seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It soon disperses all the snow. I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. It seems it would be far safer to walk on the road instead. Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruhodo, and dressed in all black. I worry a coachman might not see you, and you could be flattened by horses. Well, thank you for the rather small concern. The clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy. Well, it is known as Foggy London Town. I can just make out a sort of spire through the fog. It looks like it's still being built though. Aha, yes! That must be the Crystal Tower being built for the great exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. Apparently it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides, and a symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition. Gotta be the largest exposition in history, is it? I can't even begin to imagine it. You see all the black smoke rising from the chimneys over there? It says here that in Great Britain, many people heat their homes in winter using coal. Coal? The only chimneys I really remember seeing in Japan were on top of the bathhouse. You think some of those houses could be put on fire? Not at all. Well, even so, that much thick smoke billowing up to the heavens is surely going to turn the whole sky black sooner or later. Yeah.
Gosh, you may be right about that.
Pollution? Ah, who cares? That's for the future to worry about. Oh my gosh, Sholmes is home. Ooh, anime.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day.
Good day.
Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
I wonder if we're gonna have our dreams shattered here. Oh no, oh my god, what the heck? So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Oh my... Is it as described in the stories, Mr. Sada? Susada-san. Oh my god. Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been... Yes! I never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it! The romanticism! Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can... yes. So if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a little while longer. So please, don't mind me. Ah, she's obsessed. Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor? Wait, I did that. Oh. Oh. Oh my god.
Hello. Is it a big new case for Mrs. Sholmes?
Hello. Wait. Aren't you...
Oh, how rude of me. I'll go make some tea at once.
I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Sai, did you see the girl who was just here?
Oh yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. The King of who what? King Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund von Ormstein, of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventure Herlock Sholmes for a moment, and look over there! The tea is brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well. Ah, it's you! I knew it, Susada-san recognizes her too. Ah, there you are! And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, and good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGill's trial in the defendant's antechamber. Huh. You know, I just noticed the bunnies here. Oh, is that one supposed to be Sholmes and that one's supposed to be her?
I think so.
I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Or you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London.
Oh, yes, it was challenging.
May I try this tea? It's my special blend, you know.
Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color?
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray, it's a winner. I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here. And you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you?
Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely.
Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's been out on an errand again today. You know he just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and briefly at that. How does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think?
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite? Oh, silly me! I haven't introduced myself, have I? It is a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson.
Ah.
I live here together with Hurley.
Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait. This can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden?
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Oh, I'm Rinosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it.
Susie and Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start.
Yes, and so do I.
It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey.
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us.
Like this? Ugh. Ah, thinking back now. You left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you?
Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny. Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
This girl is dangerous.
Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, your technician.
Hurley, of course, silly. Hurley? Yes, Herlock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea the detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? No, not likely.
What?
Why wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I? Well then, what is your relation with Mr. Sholmes? Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate. Your roommates? I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year. Sholmes. I'm remembering some dumb comic about it's just some dumb Sherlock comics I've seen. Oh my god. Well, what of your mother and father? Oh no, they're not around. Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there. Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Oh, of course, go ahead, Susie. I'm a very great fan of the adventure of Herlock Sholmes and... Oh, you have a copy of Rance magazine. Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world. My stories? Oh, that's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see. And he tells me all about them. They're really quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness. Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came. So you're the author? Yes, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm gonna call this latest adventure The Speckled Band. Oh my god. The Speckled Band, that's certainly very familiar. Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble. Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually. Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but... it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you? So, do you mean to say... it's all fake? And the stories of Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rance magazine are all written by me, yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, by Dr. John H. Wilson. Sal's getting more and more worked up. Ah, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the doctor of medicine part? Oh, that's all true too. I am a doctor of medicine. No, wait, at 10 years old? At 10 years old. Well, that's quite incredible. Susanna's heart is breaking! Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Oh. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow. Yeah. I suppose it does, yes. Poor Susato-san. She looks like her whole world has just fallen apart. About before. Yes, what's on your mind, Bruno? Do tell me. How did you know that I was a lawyer and that we just arrived in London, I mean? Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How'd you know all that? Oh yes, that's what you mean. Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Oh, of course, I'd be delighted, although there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin.
Oh my god.
Iris Wilson is proud to present her logic and reasoning spectacular. First of all, I already knew that you were a lawyer, Runa. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber. But you also said that we only just arrived in London. How'd you know that? I observed the passport and a travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh,
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country.
exposed.
On top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
The Reaper of the Bailey. I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed the red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand.
Oh.
You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with a suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Ah. They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. Oh, I didn't realize. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So that told me even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you were wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that that prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see.
But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home for a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me he caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
A Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been.
Mr. Natsume. Now, Runa has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it's clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there is only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case.
A very roundabout way to say, yeah, you want to ask him some questions?
There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his notes with a knife, you see. Or, you know, he is silly. And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions.
We only heard one great deduction, and she is infinitely better than Mr. Sholmes. Every single deduction of Mr. Sholmes was freaking wrong!
Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on!
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed a certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This really is, this is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please?
So, yesterday Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying?
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage. But the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene. Ah, the great detective is a popular man, it seems. Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking, stooped man. Mr. Natsume beyond any doubt. Sosugi's son said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. It seems there were witnesses after all. Hurley uses great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police. And what did they find? A short, shifty-looking stooped man shivering in fear. Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time. Of course it did. He's a great detective. Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow's too soon for the trial, isn't it? Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime. Oh. Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it apparently. Oh dear. I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short, crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person.
What a shitty system.
That's terrible! I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
I suppose it is.
But in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Soseki-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative. Oh, you're most welcome. I had so much fun. Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well. Ah, well... I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene. Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean? Yes, Mr. Natsume. Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you can probably catch him there. Iris, do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there? Oh yes, we know Inspector Gregson. Ah, goody. In that case... Give Greggy this from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what to know.
What is this?
A 5-shilling piece, and a postcard it seems. It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, this'll make the inspector help us, will it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Oh, good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. We'll be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime.
So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note, and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. Okay, you know what? To be continued. Already? Oh, I'm put my glasses back on. It's getting annoying reading this with blurry text. I feel like every hour, half hour, I'm gonna have to switch off and switch on my glasses. Investigation Part 2. It looks as though the police are still here carrying on with their investigation.
Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible.
Yes, and let's see if we'll take a break from his chips. To look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? Oh, I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabots, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? From her ladyship? Ladyship? How does Gregson view, her ladyship? Give that here, at once! Come on, hand it over, that's for me! Don't wait for me to give it to you, would you? What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's, well, an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee. Oh, I see. You mean...
That's right. That's right. For the adventure of Herlock Sholmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me every time.
Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. I'm sorry, Inspector, that must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then? Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know, and I trust that it won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not the problem, so go on, fire away, what do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, the little knife-wielding, mustache Japanese fellow. Okay. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there, look! That place? On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up.
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is Mr. John Garadab. Right, well, if you see her again, make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it, you tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector, we will. Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship.
Well, at least he told us what he wanted to know before he left.
Yes, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely.
Huh. It wouldn't let me select going back to the prison. Oh dear God. May I help you?
Ah, yes.
Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb?
Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling?
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Sosuke Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb.
Did you see that, Mrs. Sato? That was a real-life English maid. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. And, as I understand it, anyone outstanding in English society employs a number of household staff. And that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better.
It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it?
So what a tourist. We only need to meet a butler and the experience will be complete.
Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment.
Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garadeb will see you now, this way. Oh, look! What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up? Looks more like someone has half demolished than me.
Afternoon tea is the time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garrett's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds so delightful. Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on his cake stand. Oh, naturally. And it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrett did, doesn't he? I say to myself, John, you shall have to tidy up. I think that explains some things. I mean, waste not, want not, and all that stuff, but oh dear God, how magnanimous of you. Oh dear God, look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it? Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful? Although the shelves seem to be broken. The crockery is... oh dear, it's in pieces. It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice. Uh-huh. I wonder. Perhaps the cannon was fired at it. Yes, probably something like that, but let's not delve too deeply here. Oh, good day to you. John Garrett, at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer. Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maiwand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I tell you. Don't get on much as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the 2nd floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? Well, Mr. Garrett, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it was nothing. The medal was just a folderol, really. I wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joanne? Let these good people see it properly. Joanne, fetch the... Ah! Dash garbage, old woman! Be careful! Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir. You jolly near took the skin off my hands! I shall be more careful, sir. Well then. Yes, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap living downstairs, is that right? Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Only too pleased, naturally, if it helps to keep the peace here in Blightly. We've forged an alliance with... Hey, so I don't really... I'm not too familiar with people smoking from pipes or using pipes and all that stuff. But I don't think anyone... well... stirs the mouth end of it in their cup of tea usually, right? Right? Also, while he's stirring his tea, I'm also gonna get myself some chips. I think it's getting to that point where I'm getting kind of hungry right now. I'll mute my mic real quick because it's gonna get a little noisy. Okay.
You know, I really should have some dip with these chips. Although wait, it feels a little stale. Huh. It's weird. Ah, well. I do have dip to go with these chips, but I'd have to go into the kitchen and then go through all that trouble, and I don't want to do that on stream. Then it's hard to find a good time to just like stop reading and take a bite, since like it's just non-stop line reading after line. I wouldn't want to read silently while I'm trying to take a bite, so yeah. Also, wait 1 second again. Hope you guys don't mind the eating on stream. Okay. Back to the game though. We forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? Even some famous detective poking, or even had some famous detective poking around, you know, in this old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea. All that detective business. Excuse me.
Oh, but you do have a copy of Rats Magazine here, so...
No.
Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak. So he's in Soseki-san's room.
It's a bally nuisance, that's what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss, it's jolly unsettling.
About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garadeb. Please do tell us.
Ah yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week. So he moved in very recently then. I have 2 lodgers most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you see. Dash it all, Joanne, do be careful.
Oh my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh, why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking, looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written over his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joanne, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's gonna do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure.
Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, oh, indeed there was.
She's dying to tell us. Hey Bryce, how you doing?
Had you noticed anything else about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Oh my word, yes, the man was shadier than an orchard. Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is, more than anyone else could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every day and comes back to 5 to light the gas fire. The funny little man is up long past everyone else in the house, has gone to bed too.
Oh, I see.
Gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed around 9 each night. I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Ah. You just finished your pulls and stuff? I'm doing alright. Having fun reading Case 4 so far. We're doing the investigative bit. Basically, a Japanese man, a scholar, has been, who has been doing a study tour here, has been accused of murder. And we're here to try and clear his name, or at least verify the facts at least. Yeah, things been kind of interesting so far. And of course, typical discrimination towards the Japanese here. It's like, ah, that shady looking Japanese man, I knew it was him all. I'm like, oh my god. It's like, please. I know it's like this sort of time period in history, but like, come on. Lay off the discrimination for 5 freaking minutes. Ah. Guess case 3 is not that long. I finished it in roughly 2 sessions. And oh boy, that ending for case 3, oh my god. I assume you didn't see the end of case 3, Bryce, but oh my god. What they revealed from the ending of case 3 at the start of case 4 just now, what the fuck? There's no way that they just started off with that. So I was just like, what the hell? You didn't see anything of case 1 or 3? Do you plan on seeing or buying the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles anytime soon? Because I can just briefly sum up like the thing, the main shocker of case 4 so far. You don't plan on playing the Great Ace Attorney games? So basically, case 3, right? We're defending Magnus McGilded, and the very shady fellow he is, he seems to have somehow altered the crime scene. And basically, because of how chaotic and whatever the case was, the case has been basically... They basically chucked the case out of the window and slapped not guilty because everything has been put into such disarray. No one can make heads or tails of what is really the truth or not. And basically at the end of case 3, the crime scene, the omnibus that was brought into the courtroom, was set on fire. But at the end of the cutscene, there was shaking. Someone was knocking on the door with his fist trying to desperately open it. It wasn't until the start of this case that we learned that it was Magnus McGilded himself, the defendant that we were trying to prove his innocence of, perished in that fire. Someone stuffed them in there and somehow locked the door shut and set the thing on fire, killing him. Although I have my suspicions, but like, I'm like, there's no way they can set up a man as suspicious and interesting as Magnus McGilded, because they said with all the money he has, right? He can buy Great Britain 2 to 3 times over, and he has a Scotland Yard in his back pocket. And then they just off him? I'm like, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that they just off the character like that, because, well, again, flashbacks to case 2, like they did with Cosmo, was such an interesting character that I want to see more of. They just off him. So now they do the same with Magnus? I'm like, no, there's no way they can do that 2 cases in a row. Please. Like, first, sure, I just attribute it to the case 2 curse. But like, come on. Don't do this again right away. You could actually believe that from one point of view? Probably. I mean, we only have their word to take from it. It's like, oh yeah, Magnus said that like he had something to check out with the omnibus, with the investigation with the Scotland Yard at the end of the case. I was like, okay. I was like, wait, why is he going to investigate it? I don't know. He just said he was going to check it out. And then at the end, well, he did. Supposedly. I'm like, And it's from the Scotland Yard investigators themselves, or in this, or more specifically, Inspector Gregson, who told us the news. Oh, no, sorry. It was Lord Strongheart, yeah, the main guy, the Lord Chief Justice guy, yeah. That view being, there's no way to bring him to justice if he has the police in his pocket and screw with the evidence. Yeah. Although we still don't know who exactly, because Magnus didn't seem to want to do the deed himself to mess with the evidence, but probably pay someone off to do so. So what I would think is that since he has the Scotland Yard in his back pocket, or just like most of the police in general, I would assume the bailiff who was told to secure the omnibus when Gina shot out the smoke grenade in the courtroom probably painted the blood onto the crime scene in all that chaos, because he was the only, that bailiff was the only one to secure the omnibus. So, yeah, he was probably paid off. Wait, give me a second. Okay, the worst thing about these ships, they take so long to chew. I don't want to waste chips, even though they're a tiny bit on the stale side. So I'll finish this. Oh god. What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh. I'd understand that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house. Is that correct? Oh, that's right. Yes, they're both below us, the first floor and street level. How I feel about my FGO pulls this summer? Well, I'm sad about not getting Carmilla just yet. Although we're waiting for tomorrow for that. But I'm pretty happy that I got Bunny Artoria within the first 10 pull. And getting Summer Melts as well. I don't think I'll greed for Okita as much as I like her, but yeah, we'll have to see how the Carmilla pools go once the rotation comes in. And then we'll see how I feel about that afterwards, because I'm not sure how much I wanna dedicate for Carmilla, considering well, and just in general, just to save up. Cause oh boy. You know, 2/3 of your goals done? Or 2 out of 3 of your goals done? Hey, nice. Then how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times when they go to bed. Good grief, Joanne, be more careful, woman! Oh my goodness, sir, I'm terribly sorry, sir. Aw. Something doesn't seem to add up here. It seems that the incident took place around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out the window around that time? The window. Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Gareb household. I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Juan? No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then? Such as... anything at all, even if it seems unrelated. Well... yes, was there something then? Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but around that sort of time in here, For the love of God, Joanne, watch what you're doing! Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm sorry. I'm awfully sorry, sir. Do be more careful, woman! Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hall... Look, I know they're not used to pronouncing Japanese names, but oh my god. Oh, yes. I have an exceedingly good memory. As far as I can remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour, nothing at all. Oh, really? Mr. Garudub? The way you were talking before sounded like it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really, nothing of... Come on, dash it all, what is the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quite uneventful meal and, John? That's right, Mr. Garrett. Dude. This fucking maid. Oh my god, why is she trying to shut him up so much with all the T spelling? Japanese characters have been making the same mistake. Like with the Russian names on the boat. Oh yeah, and initially with Herlock Sholmes. Instead of Herlock, it's just Hairlock. Emphasis on the hair part. What is the matter with these two? It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident, but what? I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Why, certainly, just below us on the first floor. And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there even as we speak. Yes. Told me Natsu's name had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean. I don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that can help us with the case, but we have to try. Around that first floor is what we call second floor? Oh yeah. Because they refer here to, what was it? They also have ground level as well, compared to like the US and stuff. And what other actually, how do other countries categorize or label their floors? Because like some have like the ground floor and then the first floor, which we would call the first floor and then second floor. Or is the US kind of like the odd one out in that regard? I don't know. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, there's something I was wondering about, but never mind, I got cleared up. Also, basement floor, if you have a floor below ground. I mean, that makes sense. Oh my god. Huh. Oh, whoa. Just look at this place. And smell it, it's so musty in here. I suppose the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, yes, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Gerdeb told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. I wonder where he could be. Oh, we actually can't see him from here. Kitty! Where'd he go? Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolored Mickey, was it? Wasn't it? Did they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan. That's made me feel homesick now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. 2 days and we're on our second murder case. This appears to be some sort of meter on the wall. It's very robust. I wonder what it's for. There's a slot for inserting coins here, too. Ah, I believe that is a gas meter, Mr. Naruhodo. A gas meter? Yes, it seems there's piped gas in this district, which consumers pay for by putting coins in the meter. So if we were to put a coin in the slot, that would be enough gas to use the lights and the gas fire for the whole night. You have to pay per night? So, if you're too poor to have a coin, you'd have to spend the night in the dark and freezing cold. That's right. As a rich man, as with a rich man who only carried crisp white notes. Ugh, London is a scary place. I think I'm seeing a pattern here. Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage? Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I want a lucky charm. How long do we have to deal with Jack the Ripper? Yo, that'd be sick if we have to deal with this game's Jack the Ripper. Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same. And this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word! Why are my eyes such a giveaway? Oh, whoops. Look at all these balls of paper on the floor. There's notes scrawled all over them, in English. Looks like the waste paper basket is so full they just fallen out. I think Mr. Natsume must have been deeply immersed in his research, don't you? Or deeply averse to tidying up his mess. I wouldn't like to speculate which is closer to the truth. That desk seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountain of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from the second-hand bookshop. Your books. Your books. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look. And the date of the purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That name works on 2 levels. That's the worst part. That's the day of the incident. As a pun, books from yore. Yeah, yeah. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. Look at all these books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd be never short of reading material, would you? No, what a dreamy idea. A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile will ever be read again. So reading is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as a tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony tea ceremony philosophy. Alright, translators done a great job so far. At least like from the fun lines I've been reading. I'm not sure about the it's not like I understand Japanese or know the script and can reference back and forth. But yeah, I've been having fun reading the dialogue. And you know, how they kinda either have fun with some of the names or translations or all that stuff. Good on them. When the fuck did you get here? Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from? Oh, he should have said localization. Oh, yeah.
He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope you wouldn't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes!
Ah, you two. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Buria.
Yes, of course, the Buria. And let me see what happened on that voyage.
It was Kazuma Asagi. He died, tragically. But you were a great help to us.
Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Asagi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it?
Oh.
Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least.
What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholmes. This is Mr.
Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. It was a 50-50 and you mixed it up. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. I lose the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 13 minutes. So they apprehended Sasaki-san in that short an amount of time. So were you writing that her pet was a snake? No, her pet was a cat. It's the one of the big. It was that big Russian dude who the snake. The snake was, or sorry, the big Russian dude was the owner of the snake. Is a friendly snake. Very friendly. I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of the past, of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words from the inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure called A Study in Scarlet. So wait, there's a poisonous snake in the original Speckle Band story? Why was she so afraid of seeing the pet cat? Oh yeah, like Brett said, it was against the ship's rules to have any pet, and they would have been thrown out, I think. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. They already figured it out, or figured out she had it in there, Cover's blown? Yeah. No, but not the rest of the crew though, right? So that was kind of the whole thing. That and her cat is also part of revealing who our identity was, which he was trying to keep hidden. Because, what was it? Not the crew? Yeah. Because, or actually no, I think it was only the picture frame that showed the cat. But yeah, if you've seen the newspaper and then seen the picture frame, then you can kind of put two and two together, and then if you see the cat, then the cat must mean that that girl is on board. Although not like any normal person would go in that room to find that picture frame though, so never mind that. He means Iris, I suppose.
Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned.
Oh, goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should only be too pleased. And this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman out here on Briar Road. Natsume, yes, I believe it was the name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea of what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear that as the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh, how? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. That doesn't make sense! A good detective of the Scotland Yard made the following request to me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there's a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So, you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then? That I cannot tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is a trove of fascinating books. I found myself quite lost in bibliophilia. Bibliophilia? I don't know. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no. Oh dear. God, these chips are so freaking loud. Tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Ah, yes, Mr. Garadub, a retired military man. That was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services. And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. I didn't think it was that funny. I too apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling within. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered a middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs, specifically in the retired army veteran Mr. John Garadeb. Oh. Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place as this will stab anybody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax. What is that? Surely not a tax on windows? Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. What the fuck? Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home, perhaps rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, this ease was rife as a result. So for some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Ah, yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe that low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh. Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remember that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupants of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized. And so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea! Oh, but... I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and... there are witnesses who swear having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? I cannot say with certainty whether it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garadeb is. Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that really is all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. Sorry, wait. As yet, our investigation. Okay. No, you're right. Perhaps this time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garadeb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be irrelevant or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. Wait, we need your great deduction to help us? Ah, busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Gonna be relevant in a roundabout manner? Probably. It's not relevant to the case directly. Oh, you think it's not relevant to the case directly, but relevant to something else that is? Probably. Like, knowing how Ace Attorney games go, that would probably be the case. Like, oh, I saw a thing. I was like, wait, what was that thing? Oh, it was this thing. I was like, wait, but that thing, but that can only mean that that thing could have only been there because of that thing, and that thing because of someone else, and then that someone else was not the event of that. Something like that. Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was that detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is, in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joanne. Now then, why don't you tell me what— For the umpteenth time, woman! Would you watch what, will you watch what you're bally-well doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you would be so kind. Dude, this maid is stonewalling us so much. Oh my— how do we separate these two? Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. This maid must have come cheap. This maid must be hiding something. Oh, best of luck and all that, but perhaps you can see yourselves out. Roof slam. Hey, Haskell. So, according to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garadeb is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. Okay, hold on. I want to take a little break from talking. I'll just silently examine the room while I eat. Okay, wait, I'm back. What the fuck? Distinguished participation. Oh my god. This man is a sham. For your time in the army, just the time, nothing else, just time. Okay, let's see what's over here. Oh, wait. If you look at the button, it hides... Oh my god. That is clever placement. Oh my god. Okay, I need another chip, dude. I can't. Although I do wonder, and you can see here that this is burnt. What's this little white thing down here? It's not giving me a chance to actually investigate that. If you leave the examine menu, he's visible? True. Oh, do you mean... Ah. Candle, maybe? Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah, that is a candle. Oh, wait, from up here? Huh, interesting. Wait, hold on. Oh, Okay, so maybe... Okay, I'm not sure how it would have launched all the way over there, but maybe Garrideb saw, or Garrideb or the maid saw something from the window and got so shocked they knocked it down to here or something? Also, I wonder if these cracked, like, things here are... No, we went over that. I'm not sure, actually. Alright. Ah, what's he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes? Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Oh, gracious, when did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. Oh, whatever were you doing by the window? I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye to one's window at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me. I thought perhaps you might be in need of a logic and reasoning spectacular? Of a certain great detectives great mind. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect him to be going through that again so soon. Woo! Here we go. Do you mean Mr. Sholmes? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. There is just enough time for all my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. The game is afoot. Mr. Garrideb, now it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service. Your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what you might call first rate. I'm afraid, sir, that is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon? The first is that even as we speak, you're concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. It's the cat, isn't it? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look. The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. How could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. The game is afoot. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. And a fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What does this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Oh my god, wait, is that a slap mark? Yet, with living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Or a burn wound. Well, that's the sign of a handprint. Makes sense given the tea. We'll see. Well. Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garrido. Hold on, let me stand up. There. At Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion! And a simple visit to the circus, when I revealed the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. What the fuck? Now, Mr. Garrido, it is painfully clear that you still have some deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that bleak pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Oh, am I out of water? Oh, god damn it. I'll have to get more after this. Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders. The pain... Oh. The pain you feel are being revealed by the supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is visible in your visage. Nonsense, man. I simply... But what? We must ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. We only need follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it's this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Ah. For carloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. So you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last imaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermatch, which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. You almost want him to be right. I do, but at the same time, it's so wrong I can't let him. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Ah. This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need to look at the Tower of Cakes. Not gonna lie, I'll go crazy for that too. Ah. There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Just roll with it. Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet! Yeah, I'm gonna need a moment again. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. It was actually propaganda. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Lions are well known for munching on carpet. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Also, be right back. I think I accidentally bit down that chip in the wrong way. I accidentally hurt my mouth in some dumb way. As stupid as this sounds, this really hurts, so be right back. Okay, I'm back. I really did, as dumb as it sounds, I really did chomp down on that chip in a really bad way. My mouth is bleeding just a tiny bit. Yeah, I should probably chew slower. What does the matter with you, Joanne? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garridam. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it again? Well, your deductions just now... Do you really think a lion could fit inside a room this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. A terrifying truth all too often lies behind the realm of common sense. Wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garridam and his wave would have been hurt or worse. Ah, that's where you're stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. What? I thought you said they sold the lions in the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. I don't believe I've ever heard a lion that drinks tea. The room would have been destroyed if the cannon was used. Nah, it's just a soft shell ball or bullet thing. Yeah, it's enough to stop a lion, but not enough to break the wall. Ah, my dear Mrs. Sato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Even rubber bullets can kill. You think it would stop the lion permanently? Oh, what a glorious notion.
Well then, Mr. Naruhodo. It's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight, massage. That's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it. Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know, yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning of Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see. And our fearsome beast has been on a rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrida, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrida's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature, like a cat. But it could have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garrideb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garrida's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. How unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. The mortar shells! These are shells for the cannon, aren't they? What a strange place to keep them. I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Garrida from his time in the army. Or from... Oh, wait. Sorry, I keep mixing who's talking sometimes. Ah, of course, he mentioned a battle to us before, didn't he? You remember, he said that he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that... No, that would obliterate his leg! What the fuck? The man will... Oh my god! If a round that size hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it. Or Mr. Garrida for that matter. Mr. Sholmes has a Persian slipper. And this man has spent shells. Why is this customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece? Ah, yes. But yeah, probably. It's obviously the mortar shells!
Take that!
Nope. Oh, also, okay, so that's what happens like when you actually get it wrong. It's like a little sound on the glass, like whoop. Nope. Okay, so I guess I should have done what I saw earlier when it zoomed in. I'm like, ah. So not the photograph in general, but what it is in the photograph. What? Because I've been employing an extremely advanced detection technique called jumping to conclusions, you see. That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I'm quite proud of it. I find myself wanting never to have heard it. I'm quite pained by it, in fact. Oh, sorry. Hey, Cena.
that!
The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this frame print pictures your wife, Mr. Garadev. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms. And note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed. Surely any woman of such powerful constitution will be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Let's keep going. Too late. The fact remains that the beast which so clearly established this room was your wife, Mr. Oh my god! This is how you know Herlock Sholmes is unmarried. Yeah. I don't think anyone would stand for this shit. Can you imagine having to deal with his fucking great deductions, like if he just thrust one upon you for no reason? On a daily or like regular basis? Oh my god. On one hand it'd be cool, but on the other hand to be on the receiving end of one, and a wrong one at that, oh my god, I wouldn't be able to stand it for the second time. First time because you're caught by surprise, second time you're like, no, fuck this shit, I'm falling for a divorce. Yeah. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it's plain to me, with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Okay, Ryunosuke, okay. Well, what do you mean by that? Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of Mrs. Garadev anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garadev's wife could be. We investigate like anywhere else here? Wait, She's wearing a very large ring. Look, Larry, look. Yes, a sunflower design, with some rather nice embellishments. It's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. It looks like it's on there for life, too. I can't imagine it would slide off a finger that— Oh my god! Ryunosuke! Could you hold off on insulting her stature for 5 minutes? That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Do you know, Mr. Garadev's, Garadev's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one. It was a very large sunflower design as well. Really, you have a great memory for these things. A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it?
Take that!
Ah, the beast in question. Oh my god. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Ah. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. What is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garrideb's bride in this photographic print. Let me check something real quick. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, how old is this maid? Question mark. Okay. This man is 46? I thought this man was in his, like, maybe 60s. Oh my god. How? People age faster in those days. I believe it. In other words, you're no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garrideb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garrideb herself. Oh my word. Okay. Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightfully surmise, this is the wife, yes, my Joanne. Rather let herself go, you might say, when she was a bally back. Ow! It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell ya. I was 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though, in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrideb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely, am I right, Mr. Garrideb? Only in company, yes, but listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. The raging wife! Carpet not on by the raging wife. Let's go. She hungry. Oh, whoops. Now, Mr. Garrideb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that brief pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel is being revealed in that supporting arm. Mr. Sholmes is onto something. He's quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mr. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain is tangible though. What did that pose of his really signify? Oh my god, that is one hell of a slap.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, The pain you feel is being revealed by that slap cheek. Guess it was a slap mark? Yeah, as long as the burn mark is a handprint. Unless, like, a hand is hot enough to start burning someone. Imagine it slapped so hard it leaves a mark. Yeah, I believe it. I personally believe it. Anyways. And of course to deliver that impressive mark on your cheek refuses to fade. was you, Madame Tuan Garadeb. How can she slap?
Well, yes.
You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Ah! How in the blazes? How did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves, what caused Madame Garadeb to fly into a rage? And we only need to follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it's this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Didn't Mr. Show say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now that we've established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garadeb's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Yes, well. Oh my god. She's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around to the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. There are a lot of books stacked up on a shelf here, look. All novels that I've never heard of. It would appear somebody has purchased them all from a second-hand bookshop. I think Mr. Garadeb is something of a book lover. Oh. Someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Why would you use that as a bookmark? Mr. Garadeb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look at the signature next to here. Lip marks, made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Rewind a little bit. He's married? Don't get any ideas, Susato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then. Oh.
Take that!
Oh no. Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Ah! But I don't know the Bali woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right, that's what I would say. Ah! A likely story. Now listen here, Joanne, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, and that note must already have been there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right, that's what I've been saying. Ah! Unlikely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name! It's written to James! My name, in case if you've forgotten, is Ah! Unlikely story. Are you questioning my name now? Oh my god, this abuse! And there we have it! Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bite! Oh. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermatch, which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Ah. This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need to look at the Tower of Cakes. But surely Miss Garrett didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. There doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray this room is in is the result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction that we need to fix. We only need to follow Mrs. Garredeb's gaze, and that'll tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can find.
Take that!
Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need to look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course, the only way out of, only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly gave the truth away. Scorch marks. It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Garrett's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused the candle to fall from— What the fuck? You mean to tell me that because I assume they're not at the table, or maybe they're just right close enough to it. You're telling me that the force of the slap also shook the candlestick off of the candle holder onto the carpet? God damn! And in seconds the carpet was alight. The whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion or a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast spread its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow, as you see, there is but one conclusion here. After the sparks of the marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire! Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you! Hey, nice catch. Don't get on the woman's wrong side, don't get on the wrong side. Deduction complete. Elementary. It's these dash long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in the front of a fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discover some rather illicit material, for which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonish, but demolish might be rather closer to the mark. And the beast is most certainly not. Here we go again. And the carpet was not destroyed by a fire. By fire when the candle fell on the floor. Afraid to say it was in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke, and I couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We have had to hide the mess behind the screen for the time being. Sorry. Over here, Mr. Garrideb. Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you allow me. Oh. Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. There was I, back up against the window under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride, ah yes. Your notorious love of big cats is coming through again. I assure you that title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Mr. Shell's deductions has turned out to be correct once again, after we corrected him. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere, and the old stick in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see. Around 5 o'clock, I think. So exactly at the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole blighty could have been flattened outside the window, or my window at that moment. And I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. Oh, really? Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, what can I do for you? Well, I think we got to the bottom of Mr. Garrideb's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I cannot be sure whether his secret would prove to be irrelevant or not. I just knew you were gonna say that. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one or two categories, those relevant to the case and those of not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make your mind up now. Sorry? Visiting hours of the... Yeah. Well, 1 second. Visiting hours of the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrideb. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Soseki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer. Huh, wait, I wonder. Oh. The moment we exit, we go here.
It's time, Mr. Naruto. We must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know, let's hurry. Hey, look, oh. What's the matter? It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Gyarados house. Huh.
Oh my god!
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
Who you calling old man, you rum-looking, nimini pinmini?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Who is this Horatio fella, eh? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
Eh? What the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry. It just looked as though there might be some problem here. My associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
Eh? A lawyer? A what?
If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I've studied English law.
Fine, I'll be on my way for now. But you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
Get thee to a nunnery.
Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you? What?
I do hope you're not injured.
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you.
What was that all about?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio. Then are blah 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 blah.
I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the enquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here? In the Gyarados residence?
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode.
Mr. Gyarados did mention that he had another lodger, did he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor?
Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemist. In my battle of words, ne'er could there be.
Sorry? Battle, did you say?
That big rap battles up as the right. Who is stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night.
I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least.
So, fair maiden, so good gentleman. I can tarry here no longer, fare thee well.
Oh. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what's happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Sosuke-san and that man as lodgers, Gyarados' house is fairly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over.
Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so touched.
We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume.
Oh no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, and never failing Nipponese.
Oh, now let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand... Oh, it is through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least.
Oh, it's you! The miserable rotten spy! Herlock Sholmes!
He screams so much. Yeah.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here?
I have no intention of doing anything per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having amassed the secret identity of the eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home. see how my divested friend is faring. Room for room. At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny. Ah, you! How dare you, Sherlock Holmes! I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life has been damned! What are you thinking, Mr. Naruto? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? His lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there's much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Cursed is wholly appropriate, is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. For the man's lodgings are indeed for tomorrow's, for the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by, what you just said now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no, why? Why are you looking so grave? You'll make me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow? Well, let's not tell him about the prosecutor. Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper, the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please, tell me, summarize succinctly in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. Oh my god, that is 16. Oh my goodness, can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly! Yesterday, Mr. Naruto successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGilden. What? Ah, I'm impressed, Mr. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zeek's killed the man himself? Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. Ha 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 ha! You have some wonderful notions! Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh yes. Why, of course he is. Ah, of course he is, then why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Van Zeeks is a quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not quite equate to winning every case without exception. Ah, that's good. Soseki-san looks like he's gonna cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in British criminal trial, there is both the judge and the jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals or corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who would want are to be able to sway the jury. Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. and sadly is from time to time, my dear madam. It is simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright? However, those indicted by Lord Van Zieks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Though the education team may seem to leave them, may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking. Disappear? But how? Hey, hold on. The heck is this? Huh. Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever. Perhaps attacked by highwaymen. Oh, no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, all examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, I knew it. I'm dead, total, done for, doomed. When you said accursed lodgings before, were you referring to your room at Mr. Garridub's house, I assume? Do you mean to say that you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year since I came to Great Britain. But I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take quite long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were staring at me all the time from dawn to dusk. I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I had to move a number of times. Most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money. It appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "Your room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover up his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it, but if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true, it was all true. You mean, the room really is cursed? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I've been choked to death. In my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded as a killer, thrown into prison, and nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. I really need water right now, but I ran out of water, but I don't want to go on a water break when I think we're going to go to the next part. Help my throat. Reading this guy's lines, dude. Oh my god. If only there were someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one at all. To believe, yes. To believe. Mr. Sholmes. Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall. The Buria. Ah, that case! The one with the snake? Well, yes. At the time I was a suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did, didn't I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? Ah, I see, yes, you mean... Because you were grimly dressed, Hey! Because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow, found within the found with the victim in the locked room. Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it, but I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor that in which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my mind, about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang for as far as I'm concerned. Oh, but I could have betrayed your trust. Ha 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 ha. In that case, I should have made an elementary error judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning, whether or not one should trust another is in the final analysis down to oneself. It is the matter whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right. He's right! Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Whether or not I can believe in myself. So basically, believe in the you that... actually, I had that phrase worked out better in my head, but never mind. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You were so right, Kazuma. Believe in the me that believes in you. I was gonna reword it in some slightly different way, but it didn't play out like as I was saying. I'm like, wait, no. I wanted to reword that, but it didn't come out as well as I wanted. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we're leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There's the restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Yo, I'd be down. Oh dear. There's never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume. If you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. As I said, I only experienced the British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What to believe in? The defendant? Justice? Or the truth? How to believe, even? But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime, and it's imperative that we prove that in court. Oh, come still, blah 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 blah. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. So it would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Mrs. Sato, yes. Will you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me
Your personal judicial assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to start looking backwards. Cosmo believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Soseki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him. To fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. Okay. I think I'll stop here for tonight because, oh my god, my throat cannot speak anymore with how with how reading everyone's lines is with their tones of voices and the screaming. Oh my god. I'll have to exit out like after this little box. Oh, and I'm still hungry too. Oh, I just got myself a little snack. And rest my voice for the night. Gotta throw some water. I had this huge cup, and it still wasn't enough to get me through all this although, to be fair, I was eating some chips. But still, I need to get my water.